Yes, sir, my friends in recovery. Welcome to another episode of Sober Nights Movement. The movement where your sobriety is my purpose. Just something quick I want to show you guys. A couple of weeks ago on my way to work, I have to go through this park in Manhattan called Battery Park. And it's filled with tourists. And a Chinese gentleman decided to draw me. Back then, I had my hair in a ponytail and I was dressed differently, but he kind of drew me. Doesn't really look like me, kind of, but I guess he tried. But yeah, I'm gonna get framed. And, I gotta get a couple of frames actually, because I got a couple of things I want to hang up in my beautiful 2-bedroom apartment. But, yeah. I want to touch up on what happened to me today at an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting on Zoom. First off, subscribe to the channel so you guys can stay up to date with the latest news, recovery tips and tools that you will need to succeed in the world of recovery. But for now, I've just been checking in, kind of like letting you guys know how I feel, how you feel, about the whole movement that I'm putting together here. In my previous episodes, I spoke about addictive behaviors. And, it's my day off of work and I logged on to a meeting and I said, let me just not really do much today, just stay home and just focus on meetings on Zoom and stuff like that. And I did like about 4 meetings on Zoom today, which was pretty enough for me. I can do more. But I decided to just come on YouTube real quick. So I logged on to the meeting and I see someone's name. It says addictive personalities. And I said, no picture in the background, it's just black and white. And I said, oh, this guy is probably someone I met off of YouTube or off of Instagram that, probably was a listener and now he's he wants to relay and he wants to share about it in the meeting. Trust me, it's happened before where I've met people in a meeting. This actually at a face-to-face meeting. I will be sitting in the back row, the gentleman right in front of me will look at me and say, "You're Sober Nights from Instagram. You gave me this meeting information. I'm here." And that doesn't even give me a type of power. That just lets me know that people are taking it serious. Because I do have listeners who don't take it serious. And I hope that they can understand the meaning of Sober Nights movement. The majority of my meetings I make in Queens, some Manhattan, but I got sober in Queens. And Queens is my corazón, my heart in Spanish. He turns his camera on and I don't know this guy and it just, I don't think he listened to my YouTube or he's one of my Instagram. I'm constantly changing Instagrams. It's just like my 10th sobriety Instagram account. A lot of them have been hacked, have been just basically, what's that word? Fraud, scams. A lot of it. So I said, you know what, this needs to stop. I need to create an account where I need to really focus on people who are in recovery. Back then, I was just talking to anyone. Now I'm just focusing on recovery, making sure that you're a real person in recovery. You're not someone trying to be someone else. So he starts speaking about why does he get kicked off of the meeting and people don't respect him in AA and he's always getting kicked out of the meeting. that AA is a cult, that people in AA, in meetings, they pick the same people all over again to share. It's a cult. And he got removed from the meeting, but before he got removed from the meeting, they muted him. Because at this meeting, the person, the host, gets to mute you and unmute you, which I do not like. I like a meeting to be open, and this is not school. This is a meeting where you have to, if you want to speak, you have to raise your hand. A 40-year-old person raising their hand, I want to share about this topic, and then you have to get unmuted and stuff like that. Like, come on, we're all adults. If a person is a scammer and is playing around in a meeting, remove that individual quickly, basically, or take steps to make your meeting great, right? Before he was removed, he turned his camera back off, and then he turned it back on, and he put the middle finger up in the air at the camera, and everyone's like, oh, remove him, this is not a call, blah, blah, blah. He was removed. And I'm sorry, but I was laughing throughout the whole process because I believe he's an individual who's sick and suffering. Look at his name, Addictive Personalities. I believe he was an individual that was, and I'm looking for my phone, okay, sorry, that was and still is sick and suffering. He has an addictive behavior, and I believe he doesn't have the proper tools and the proper help so that he can deal with life and addictive personalities or behaviors. People just tell him, get the F out the meeting, you're being disruptive. I believe this is why Sober Nights movement is a beginner's meeting. All are welcome. When I decide to actually make it official and put the stamp down and say, okay, we're back on Zoom. We might be back in person. Everyone is welcome. I'm here to treat people's with addictive behaviors, personalities, and we'll go from there. You can take it or leave it. But no one is banned. Just because this individual is cursing and whatnot, he has addictive behaviors. He needs help. Anyway, this is why, in AA is great, do not get me wrong, but I feel like sobriety is more than Alcoholics Anonymous. Sobriety recovery is all in the mind. Alcoholics Anonymous is just a foundation. It's just like a stepping stone for you to go to and hear messages and say, oh, this person is sick, and listen to the steps and the principles and their rules and whatnot. And he also said, listen, you guys are gonna remove me from the meeting if I don't start talking about the Bible, if I don't like the Bible, if I don't believe in a higher power, if I don't believe in a God, will you guys remove me from the meeting? You guys have principles, but you guys don't really practice these principles in the meeting. You guys get to choose your own people to speak over and over again. And I'm sorry, but I can relate to the gentleman. I've known a lot of meetings in Alcoholics Anonymous in Manhattan, in Queens, wherever, where it's the same individual running the meeting and they feel like they're the boss, that they're in charge of it, right? Because they look good and they're just at the meeting. They think that that's their home. I'm here to tell you that AA is a program where they have principles, steps. But once you find yourself in a meeting where you see that they don't practice AA rules, I call them rules, I'm sorry, and it's going to affect your journey in recovery, you should leave that meeting and find another AA meeting, because there are other AA groups that really follow rules, principles, and steps. So, I'm not, just, don't do AA. No, don't do AA. Just don't do it at all. No, It's a program that helps people with alcoholism. But Sober Nights is a group that helps people with all types of addiction behaviors. I feel like if you target more than just alcoholism, you're better to succeed in the real world. So I'm gonna end it by that, and just blessings. Love you guys. Stay sober. Enjoy life in recovery, and remember, focus on your recovery. It's your path. You are the one walking. You are the one taking footsteps. So even if you're 50, 60, damn near 90 years old, or 80, or 40, and you're just starting recovery, it's okay. It's okay as long as you realize that, look, I've tried recovery and I liked it. The one and only founder. This guy at the meeting really pushed it to the limit, but he was removed for speaking the truth. Blessings.